And go support local businesses, yes. So I actually met Will through the poetry scene here in Charleston, and he was one of my very first mentors and now friend, and very much threading. So he is someone who can thread international and small businesses together. So please give it up for Mr. Will Davis, aka Tethered Wrds.
So journey with me. Let me take your mind's eye across land, lakes, and silver-toned light rays of the sun. See the landscape shift when you trek miles to meet those who have trekked miles, to be met with walls and arms, not of embrace, but firepower. Dust clouds turned up by propeller winds meeting desert floors. Border patrols use helicopters to turn away those who should have made different choices. Water washing over your body as you cross bodies of water, the only borders carved by God's own hand. See, it seems this land was not made for you and me. It was made by and for those we have decided to keep, those we deem worthy of bearing our citizenship, or at least those that can pay for it. Now, I assure you, you might not be ready for this journey, because it is hard, but I've got stories of brown beauties, babies, toddlers, preteens, mothers, fathers who have walked the distance, seeking a life that would make a difference, maybe for themselves, but mostly for their children. And in their mind's eye, their resolve understands all the more that the risk will never outweigh the reward. So I ask you, as I ask myself, how hard must life be for a chance to live like me? Thank you.
I guess I'll use a microphone now for this. That was my first time trying that technique. Did it work? Yes. Awesome. Thank you. I'm Will Davis. I go by the name of Tethered Wrds, always trying to connect moments and words to people, events, because I truly believe, as we're here talking about threads, I believe we are all weaving ourselves into a greater story of humanity, and I believe we all bring that beautiful, distinct piece, right, to the tapestry of humanity. So what are you bringing to the table? How are you? I love that. Meet the audience. That's just fantastic. That's weaving and sharing your story with somebody else, right? That's courageous vulnerability, if you will. Like, I'm gonna exchange my story for your story, and now we're connecting, and now we're meeting others, and now maybe we're friends. Like, that's very cool. But journey comes from my book, Threads of Resilience. Talk about working things out. Threads of Resilience, my first book, we'll talk about more a little bit later. Weaving the human spirit through poetry. I'm literally like sold out, and shout out to Odd Duck, unashameless plug is here. They're here. I literally ran to the coffee shop this morning and said, I'm taking these last 2 books because maybe somebody wants to buy them here. But that's it, I'm like sold out, which is cool, or you can buy it online, but we'll get there. But that was Journey, the first poem out of Threads of Resilience. This is my people, my wife Sarah, and it's gonna be 3 this weekend, my son Judah, and it's just awesome. I love being a dad, I love being a father. It like draws this whole new level of inspiration and creativity and just like fortitude of life. Like, why am I doing this thing? It's for him and his generation, right? Like, they are the future now. And so I just love being a dad. Aside from that, I am a certified immigration and human rights advocate and activist, meaning at some point I had to not just engage life with like the rah-rah, but I wanted a skeleton to be able to flesh out the rah-rah. Does that make sense? Like, I knew what I was talking about, but now I have a certification, that proves I know what I'm talking about. Like, that's what that is. And a lot of people, they love the aspect of like, all right, Will wrote an editorial, yay. Or Will's doing this thing, yay. But I was like, no, I actually took classes and I know basic immigration law now, and like I know how to weave in and out of these conversations, these dark, spaces and stuff like that for the sake of somebody else. So I did that. And then I'm an educator locally. I work for Charleston County School District. That's what pays the bills. But talk about a merging of worlds. My department cares for all immigrants and refugees that come into our school district. There's 5 of us, and each of us oversee like 20 schools. And we just get around and we're there with families, and it doesn't matter like if you speak Spanish or not, or Russian or Ukrainian, whatever it is, we are there for them. And I just love how my worlds have merged. And then I use poetry to engage in this heavy conversation. I think arts allow for a natural way in to someone's heart. Like immigration and advocacy, that's a heavy word right now, right? It's become very politicized, right? And I'm here to tell you, like, can we just talk about a person that I met at the border, right? It's no longer just a they, them, or a boogeyman under the bridge. Like, no, they have a name, they have a face, they have a story, and that's what I want to share. And that's really what Threads is about. It's work that I did back in like 2020 to 2023, and I was like, I have to use art to tell a better and different narrative of what's happening at the southern border. And so that's what the book is about. It's about immigration at the southern border. But that's my family. I love coming back home to this. A little bit like, well, I'll talk about it later, but this is my motto for life. To speak life, to inspire dignity, and to do good. Right? Really, like, let's get into good trouble. I'm there. The joke in my house is that my wife like has a fund because she's like, you're probably just gonna get arrested someday for like fighting for someone. And I'm like, yeah, I probably will. Like, I'm there with you. I'm gonna stand side by side with people, because one day, I'm gonna tell you right now, we're probably gonna frustrate you and we're gonna stand toe to toe, but you're gonna remember that I was there with you and alongside you. And that's what I'm gonna do when I enter in, right, to life and engage life for somebody else. Especially for someone else when they're like, everybody has a voice, but sometimes voices are stifled or shut up, right? And so I want to be there for those people who their voices haven't been heard yet. So any platform I build is not for myself. I'm gonna build a platform and be like, yo, who wants it or who needs it, right? And so speak life, inspire dignity, and do good. I'm gonna check my notes. I have notes, because otherwise, trust me, I could talk all day. Let me get to how I got to writing, but that is my motto. Writing is really my release. I started writing, I've always been a writer, kind of talkative and chatty and stuff like that. But writing as a release came to me in 2018 when I started to write and journal really just what was on my mind, what was weighing on my heart, and basically like all the anxiety. I had to release that. And talk about getting ahead of the curve, because then we hit a pandemic after that, right? Woo! Having to weigh all that. So that's how that started. I started to just journal everything, and then the journaling just became poetry. And I was like, I kind of can do this thing a little bit, and so that's where that came from. And my wife just really encouraged it, encouraged me to just keep doing that. And then I wanted to just encourage others. And really, again, kind of the same thing, just speak up for others, to be there for others. I wanted to, I'm always willing to ask questions to find an answer, but then I also figured, like, can I be an answer for someone else, right? Can I, even if that's a shoulder to lean on? You don't have to have a verbal answer, but you can be there for someone, right? And to say, let's do this together. Most people want somebody to do life together with, right? That's an answer to say, let's move forward and then connect together, right? Weave this tapestry of humanity. And so I started to do that through poetry, through my motto of speaking life. There's so much darkness and heaviness out there. Like, let's lift each other up, right? Inspire dignity. Like, let's see something more in somebody else. Can we do something more? Can we do something more collectively for someone else, right? And just do some good. There's so many people sitting on the sidelines of life, screaming into it, and they're doing nothing. And so I'm like, let's do something. Let's do something together, right? And so that's how that went. And so I just weaved my life together into others, and from there it just started picking up. And I met people like Abby and Marcus Amaker, and just a ton of Asian Maid, like a ton of people who just spoken to me and helped me build this thing. And over time, it just really grew. And so that was 2020, hit the pandemic, trying to figure it out. And in 2020, I had a buddy of mine at the College of Charleston, a professor of social studies and kind of like English there, and he was taking a trip to the southern border, and he said, well, I want you to come and see what's happening. I would love for you to lend your voice into the situation at the southern border. And I was like, dude, that's a real hot topic. I'm not against it, I just don't know what to do with it, right? And I was being honest with that. And then, the year keeps going by, and like 2 months later, he's asking me again. 2 months later, finally, I saw what he was doing, and I was like, fine, I'll go. And so the summer, I finally went, and my life changed. Everything I thought I knew about what I knew went out the window. And I was like, I had to ask different questions. I had to ask questions about what I believe, what my biases are, the lens that I have on this thing. But then I also realized, wow, I'm talking about a person with a name, with a story, a child with a name and a story, right? It's no longer just they and them and whatever out there. There's something else there. And so that's kind of how I got into like full advocacy work, this very niche thing of immigration and refugee work. That's how that started there. And my life has been better because of it. And so from that, I truly believe, and I have seen, that empathy is fueled by proximity, and that deepens understanding, right? When you're there with somebody in the trenches, when you're there with somebody when life, it's easy when everything is fun and you're like frolicking through the woods. It's harder when the bear shows up. You're either alone or you're with somebody. And then you live to tell the tale together, bro, that's awesome. And so that building that empathy is fueled by proximity. Like, let me walk with you through this journey. And so my thread has just been immigration advocacy, and now I get to do that globally and in my own backyard, right? Literally for Charleston County School District. Like, wow, that's wild. And that came out of something bad. Like we actually got hit with a lawsuit, and the Department of Justice came in and was like, you're not taking care of people, blah, 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 blah. That's something bad. It was dark. But then this beautiful little department came up, and now I get to be a part of that. And now we get to take care of people, and now we get to like enjoy El Molino off Rivers and West Ashley, right? Like it's just very cool to just do this thing together. Even Eurofoods in West Ashley, right? I love them. Ukrainian pierogies are on point. It's just wonderful to do that. By the way, I'm a Puerto Rican with a beard. All right, that's my descent. In case y'all are wondering, because I know some of you were wondering for sure. That's who I am. And then I have like the widest name, right? William Davis. Like it's wild. But it's cool. It's very cool. But yeah, empathy is fueled by proximity and deepens understanding. I truly believe that. I got one poem, talk about questions, and I was asking this one question, and it's called Preguntas, or questions in Spanish. I'm not going to read the Spanish portion. This is in English. And I really was asking this, talking about being an answer for people, but who protects the protectors? Who speaks up for those that build platforms for others? Who has a balm for the healers and a salve for the soothers, the compassionate and merciful? Who brings peace to the peacemakers? Those who step in front of fiery arrows so their fellow man will live in freedom. Who inspires the poet and prophet? Who brings the word to the writer when their inkwells run dry? Who draws out wisdom for the wise? Who sings to the musician when their voices need rest? Maybe there is no answer, but I know this. Creation ensues with renewal upon every rising sun and every falling moon, presenting hope, glory, and beauty once again. And so the day comes and the day is new, but you were also given that day. And I think you can be an answer for someone else. The inspiration, the coming alongside, the like, yo, let's just get this ish done, right? Let's do this together. Weave your story with somebody else's. It's a beautiful thing. It led me to do this. Now I have an LLC. I started doing enough of these things, talking, and I got tired of like 20 1099s. So I was like, it's easier if I just put everything under one umbrella. So Threads, right? Resilience, the book, Tethered Wrds, poetry. I'm under the umbrella. This is my company, Pegasus and Papyrus. And really, I want to bridge worlds and build futures, right? With everybody. And so I love this. This is my first time at CreativeMornings. This is awesome. And so our mission is to bridge the realm of imagination and reality through advocacy, education, art, and collaboration. Like, there's enough stuff happening out there. Like, can we reimagine something? Can we reframe the narrative? Right? Let's dream bigger, and then let's just do. Right? Let's find the people. This is my idea. Who can help me implement it? I want to bring those people together. And our vision is to build a future where imagination fuels innovation, education is a transformative force for positive change, and creating a world where all individuals have the opportunity to thrive for the common good. And yes, I get moments like this to do it, but really, I bring in my people to do things together. So that was born out of that. And because of this, and I'm almost done, I'm wrapping up, I promise. Because of this, the book and everything like that is taking me around the world. So my book, Threads of Resilience, I've done book studies, workshops. I'm in and out of Mexico all the time. I'm planning 4 more trips for next year. I think there's a laser on this. Yeah, boom. This is me in South Sudan. This is me in Cuba. This is Vocabulary and Nearpod asked me to host an event on a yacht in the harbor. That was super dope for educators and talking about how education, literacy, and hip hop, all that kind of stuff. That was fantastic. Mexico, all around. This trip right here. I'm trying to tell this without crying, to be honest, because I just got back on Friday from the front lines in Ukraine. But this is my team in Ukraine. I never imagined I'd be taking advocacy and art to the literal front lines of a war. The things I've seen there, I can never unsee. But again, that's not just a political thing happening over there. It's easy, it's a forgotten war, right? Things just happen throughout life. But I can never have gone there without the part I didn't tell you. I'm also a first responder trauma chaplain through this advocacy work. Again, I'm building into me as I engage people. And so my buddy is Ukrainian American. He's got a nonprofit out of Virginia. He said, Will, would you come and be a chaplain for frontline soldiers in Ukraine? And I was like, holy smokes, what? So we took a medical team, 3 doctors, 2 chaplains, press release officer, stuff like that. A chiropractor too. And that was fantastic. We literally served other chaplains and soldiers in the middle of war zones, fields with landmines, bombed out tanks. Like, this is... Book 2 will definitely have stories from that time. I'm still debriefing. Like I said, I just got here back on Friday. It was wild and beautiful, and the people are beautiful. Yeah, it's been crazy. But building bridges, right, bridging worlds, that's my thing. I think if we all did this thing together, we could all breathe a little easier, right? But we gotta have this togetherness, right? And so again, threads or weaving your story. You have a story. You have something to offer someone. So tell it. Tell it. I'd love to hear it. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I got 2 copies of my book. Oh, I got a tote bag. That's cool. Right there, Speak Life and Inspire Dignity. I'll sell it to you. And I got some business cards. I'm still new to this. But yeah, that's me. And I think the next slide is QR codes. Oh, one more poem. Is that cool? Yeah. Okay, out of the book. Historias, or stories. This is a short one. Stories build societies, fortify communities, create connections. Stories tear down all strongholds and barriers within the heart, thus compelling warriors to drop arms and embrace strangers as kin. So that's what I like to do. Allow people to drop arms and say, you know what? Not exchange life for life, exchange story for story, because we're better together. And talk about the diversity of humanity. It's just a beautiful, wonderful thing. There's my QR codes if you want to do something with it.